Conveniently, the school in Athens had ripped off Notre Dame's offense, already possessing North Carolina's stadium design and Yale's mascot, marching band uniforms from the British, a fight song from the Union Army, hedges from literally everywhere, and later on, a logo sourced from a bunch of Wisconsinite meat packers. It makes sense their schemes weren't any more original than putting both peanut butter and jelly on a sandwich.
Welcome back to the Signs of the Southland podcast presented by From the Rumble Seat. My name is Akshay, and joining me as always from the, second floor of the Scheller College of Business is Jake Grant, Ethan Kreger, and Cade Lawson. How is everyone doing on this fine Monday night?
Pretty good, bud. How about you?
Meh. Could be better, honestly.
Excellent.
I sense some faux enthusiasm there.
Hey, man.
It's a great day to be alive. Yeah.
What a time to be alive!
It's a great day to be a yellow jacket. Let's go.
Yes, this indeed is the beginning of Hate Week. But before we get into the game versus that school out east, we're going to start our newest segment, the fastest 5 minutes on the flats. Mr. Grant.
Mr. Ishwaran.
Someone start the timer. All right, you got 5 minutes, and we're going to nail all of Georgia Tech non-rev sports.
Give me the signal when we're ready to go.
And I'm going to play the blitz in the background. All right, ready? Yep. Set. Go.
All right. What the heck? This is weird. All right, anyways, back to the task at hand. We start off with number 28, women's cross country. The Jackets finished 28th in the NCAA championship this weekend in Madison, Wisconsin. Tech's best ever finish was 26th in 2001. This is their first trip to the Big Dance since that watershed year, and they were able to move up 2 places from their ranking despite extremely suboptimal course conditions for a team from the Southeast. So this is a team that we here from the Rumble Seat didn't know what to expect from starting this season. They defied all of those and then some, knocked off some ranked teams in the process. It's a good weekend for them. Any thoughts from you guys?
Good call, Boomer.
All right, on to volleyball.
They won. That's all.
Whoa.
UVA sucks.
UVA
More on that
sucks.
later.
Yeah.
Swimming, let's go.
Oh, man, I could talk about this one for half an hour, but I won't give it to you. All right, men's number...
you got 4 minutes.
Number 20, Georgia Tech men's swimming. Hosted Georgia Tech Invitational along with the women. Women got 8th. Shout out to their swimmers, Emily Ilgenfritz and Iris Wang, for their beat cuts in the 500 freestyle, 200 freestyle, 100 freestyle, as well as Cameron Hidalgo on the 3-meter diving. B cut means that they are in consideration for an at-large bid to the national championship. All right, clarified. That's the simplest way we can do it. Men's swimming is next. They upset number 12, Alabama, number 16, Virginia Tech, in their invitational. They swam incredibly. Kaya competed, is still not lost as the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in this calendar year, this academic year. They were just hairs off a automatic qualifier in the 400 medley relay. They did get the automatic qualifier in the 200 medley relay, along with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 B cuts. Sorry, I was literally counting those. We went several school records, a bunch of first place finishes. It was a great weekend for them. Pumpuris also got the A cut in the 200 breast. This means the Jackets will be going to the national championship at the end of the year, and a lot of them are throwing their hats in the ring. This is the best swimming season we've seen in a while. Their recruiting looks good. Based on signing day, they signed a Swedish dude named Daniel Kertez, and he is a 7-time national record holder for the Swedes. So it was a good weekend for the Jackets.
All right, 2 minutes.
Great. 2 minutes left. What have I got? Oh, yeah, women's basketball. The most important non-rev news of the week. We've got women's basketball at McCamish yesterday. They played the University of Georgia. University is in air quotes. You can't see that, but it's there. They won 63-53. They did a great job of drawing fouls, playing defense in transition. That is a Michelle a team specialty, a signature from when they went to the tournament. Looked great. First time I've seen them in person yet. Definitely a fan of where they could go this year. 2-2 UGA got 48 votes in this week's poll, and 3-1 Georgia Tech, who just beat them, only got 1. So the haters are out there. They're gonna tell you not to rank Georgia Tech men's swimming top 10. They're gonna tell you not to rank the women's basketball team. They'll put women's tennis at something ridiculous like 16. Those are lies.
Rank them, you cowards.
It's a good time to be on the flats, and if you're not fired up about it, then you're not a weirdo like me.
All right,
thing.
National Signing Day for Non-Rev. Let's go.
National Signing Day.
You got 1 minute.
Baseball, amazing class. I know that's not technically a non-rev sport, but gotta give them a shout out. Great lefty, number 9 catcher, prospect. Looked fantastic. I already mentioned the Swedish guy for swimming. They picked up 2 distance guys on the process, and one of their women looks like a good signing. Their new assistant coach is hitting the dirt hard. Team morale looks to be up, and I really like where they could go with this, especially if they can continue making good hires like this. The rest of non-rev looked great. Softball got a couple clutch signings, and then volleyball as well. And I think that's about it for Georgia Tech. I'm going to take my last 30 to shout out just, I don't know, you guys at the department. Good job, athletics. It's a good season in the fall.
Number 7.
That was last year, you idiots. Women's basketball, Cade. Women's basketball.
7. All right.
That's a lot of Jake talking. We're going to throw it back to everyone, and my time's expiring right now. Go Jackets.
All right.
How well done was that?
Fastest 5 minutes on the flats.
It's a good weekend for the Jackets, guys.
It's a very good weekend.
And that rolled into a Friday night basketball win over East Carolina. All 4 of us were there. Any thoughts on that?
They suck. East Carolina's really bad.
Started out slow again.
Yeah.
Jackets started out slow again, and it almost killed them this time.
Hurt them against Tennessee. They never really woke up against Tennessee, though.
I think that's also partially because I feel like Tennessee was playing at least decent defense. If not, it was pretty effective. We also just couldn't hit anything.
You mentioned that Tennessee was missing a starter.
Yeah, Tennessee was missing one of their starting guards. Jordan Bowden was out on Tuesday night, and that really hurt them. But I feel like just in general, that Tennessee team surprisingly has a long way to go considering they bring back most of their production from last year. You figured they'd be a team that was ready to go right from the opening whistle this season, but they certainly do not look top 5 at the moment and probably borderline top 25 team at the moment. Still good to see Georgia Tech compete with them, but it's not as good of a loss as their ranking might suggest.
It wasn't a lot. Yeah, it wasn't a lost game. It wasn't. I think we all went into the game thinking that we'd get blown the hell out, but
yeah,
it was a very winnable game until
I really did not like our offensive execution.
Like we were still within 10, and I think you said it earlier when we were preparing for this. Tech was always within like 9 points. If they knock down a couple of those 3-pointers, and we're not shooting like 28.3 from the field, and have more personal fouls than field goal percentage. It's a different game.
Yeah, I think guys have got to play better defense without fouling, too. And going into the East Carolina game, we started real slow on offense, and that's something that's going to have to get corrected fast because with a trip to Northwestern coming up and a neutral site game with St. John's not far away, you start slow in one of those places, you get buried, you get down 20-4 real quick that way, and that's something you can't really come back from.
You saw what happened to our shooting, though, once it caught fire against East Carolina.
It didn't stop.
Yeah,
they really woke up.
They
kept
laid
it on until
they poured it on the Pirates
until our subs started getting cute with the rotations in there at the end by Pastor and the staff. But I think from right when I called that 3-pointer by DeVoe, from right around there until at least 12 minutes left in the second half, they looked.
Haywood was hitting shots. Alvarado was doing very well.
4 threes.
The guys that you'd peg as your shooting crew on the Jackets were starting getting hot at the right time in that game, and it was a good showing.
I appreciate how you didn't say when he hit the 3. You said when you called the 3. So that's a nice, humble brag there.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah, you did suck at picking the halftime Duncan kid.
Oh, you did that again.
We didn't put money on it this time.
This
Our
time.
two resident degenerates placed a.
Oh no!
halftime bet.
You did this last time too. Don't think you're outside of this. All three of you bet on children in the little jacket dunking contest at halftime.
My kid sucked. He didn't even jump.
Mind you, these are like
My guy
3 years
dribbled
old
this
and
time.
younger
They are
kids.
not 3 years old. They are at least like 5 or 4 or 5.
No, there's no way one of the.
Cade picked the tall guy.
No,
That's
I
not
picked
even
the
fair.
shortest
That
one.
one was
I
10.
picked
He
the
was
ginger.
10.
I picked the little kid.
That kid was
Tall guy.
at most 2 years old.
All right,
He
let's
didn't
talk about
try.
real basketball.
All right, fine. What do we got
Um,
next this week?
I still really like how we're scrapping for the 50-50 ball. I think Pastner does too. I think we're getting in lanes, playing some lockdown defense. I don't know. That's something that like you can fall back on that when your shooting may not be as hot or cold. You can't really learn good defense in the moment, but even when your offensive side goes and comes, I don't know.
It is
Living-
honestly
the saying
like
goes in college basketball: offense brings the fans, defense travels. And when they start having tough road games here in non-con and in ACC, you win with your defense. You don't win by knocking down threes in places like Cameron Indoor Castle Coliseum.
and the defense showed up in that Tennessee game. I mean, obviously neither team was shooting particularly well, but it was really interesting to see the passer mix it up between man and zone, and sometimes his zone kind of weirdly just shifted into a man. It was like all these shifts, like the sort of strategy unfolding in the game was really fun to see.
Too much fouling, but part of that's on the refs. But I mean, they are playing an aggressive brand of defense, so
Yeah.
that's not nothing.
It's the same thing as football, forcing turnovers.
That's a good transition. But before we transition, I want to give a shout out to the sixth man of the
Week
of the year, of the game, of the week, of whatever. You know what I mean?
Better name could be had.
Well, with it, it's inspired by the Monday morning backup punter. Kenny Trill, Heisman of the week. But anyways, sixth man was probably to. Gosh, I had one on the tip of my tongue. I said the basket last time, right?
Yes.
So I can't say the basket again. We're gonna go sixth man goes to the guy with the camera who like holds all the cords but makes sure they get off the court before it comes out because they almost started the play with a camera cord on the floor. So good job, cord guy. Good job, cord guy.
Good job.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it for
All right.
dump
Football?
bets. Football. Let's do it.
Football. All right. The Cavaliers of Virginia that suck at basketball now. They also suck at football.
Yeah, they don't suck at basketball.
They lost their 16th seed. They suck at basketball.
They're going to be damn good this year, but we'll go on.
I wish we had the opportunity to lose to a 16 seed.
Oof.
I wish we had the team they have this year.
But anyway, that's not football, and we're talking about football. So, Tech wins 30-27 in overtime in another brand of Georgia Tech heartburn and heart attacks.
Usually we lose games like that, though. Beginning of this year, we lose that game.
Oh,
Last
yeah.
year, we lose that game.
Tech is now on a, what?
4-game winning streak,
6 wins in its last 7, 4-game winning streak overall. I think they've won every game in the month of November. Every game in the month of November. The only game they dropped in October was to Duke.
That was a tough one.
That was entirely winnable as well.
But we can dissect what's already passed some other time. I think that if we want to start with shout-outs, we got to talk about Wesley Wells.
Wesley Wells. Oh, my God. Walk-on freshman kicker. This guy, I don't think he's missed a kick yet this
He has
season,
not.
has he?
Nope. All his extra points, all his field goals that have all been made.
So let me, if I remember correctly, he hit from 28, 40, and 40 in the last two
48,
kicks.
I thought.
Or 48 and 48. So the last two,
No.
40 and 48.
40 and 48. Wow, I need to read the box score better. But the one from 48 was to tie the game at the. Jesus, just tell him.
Talk.
Just tell him.
Yeah,
just tell him.
Wells hit from 28 and from 28 again early in the game when the offense was struggling in the red zone, and those were much-needed points at a time when we needed to stay in contact with the UVA offense, which was looking good earlier in the game. And then with about a minute 10 to go, 4th and 7 from the left hash, Wells drilled it from 48 with a good 4 or 5 yards to spare. I think the kick would have been good from 52, 53.
They said on the broadcast.
Yeah. And then in overtime, once again from the left hash, Wells was good from 40, kissed it in off the far upright,
It was close.
It was close, and it
was
honestly,
nervy.
Yeah, it only would have been good from 42 or 43 yards that time, but it got through the uprights, and that's all that matters.
I wanna really point out that kick from 48 that he hit off the left hash when he lined up for that kick and they snapped the ball. Place went dead silent. I don't know.
I've ever heard it.
Yeah, I have never heard that stadium literally dead silent, other than when there's not a game going on. But
Yeah,
it was.
That is a good observation from your.
I'm a uniform
watch
rider,
boy.
but go for it.
Not even the UVA fans said anything at that point. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think they forgot to because on the next kick, in the overtime kick, you're talking about not the overtime kick.
I'm talking about the kick that tied it.
The kick that went into
Yeah.
far upright.
So-
Yeah.
They were silent.
Neither one of
The
them
one
tied
that
it.
put us up by 3
Oh.
before we
Yeah.
allowed them to. Okay, yeah. The
I hate
non-overtime
knowing
kick,
my
they were
game's
quiet.
lose.
The overtime kick, a few of them remembered to
Cheer.
It's
I think
the
it was-
wine and cheese crowd. They were too busy worrying about the
The
Gruyere on
but
the
it wasn't
plates.
even the fans that were cheering for that one. It was the UVA sideline that was cheering for that one.
Oh.
The
And
one
I think
in
we
OT.
heard that more because it was directed straight at us, whereas the other one was pointed towards the far end of the
and
stadium.
also that everyone in our end zone was dead silent.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah.
Especially after that.
Let the man work.
One, let the man work, and two, especially after that weird half-blocked field goal from UVA to tie the game and send it into overtime.
Yeah.
We were just like, is this going to be another special teams based mishap for Georgia Tech?
Hey, props to them for getting a hand on the ball too. I was standing at the corner of 118, and there was a couple staffers and photographers standing below, and one of them ran over to see the angle, and they got a decent
They got
hand
a
on
chunk
that.
of it.
Like he came back and he's like, yeah, there's not much you can do about it other than, hey man, he made the play. He got to the ball.
He got to the ball, and I'm sure 8-9 times out of 10 that ball does not go in the uprights, but it just so happened to do so.
Yeah.
It was, I think, Malik Rivera got a hand on it.
That
if I
man has
saw
been
it correctly.
a needed presence on this team, especially
At
losing
safety.
AJ Gray.
So did he get it from behind or from the side?
I think he got it from the side, didn't he?
It looked like he
I
went.
think he came off the left.
He
the left
went off.
side.
He came off the left, and I
just don't know if it's Rivera because I don't have it.
I
in
thought
front
it
of
was
me.
one of the big boys who came through the middle, but it could have been Rivera.
No, it definitely. I feel like he came from the side.
I mean, we were all pretty far over on the left side, so it wasn't a good angle. Honestly, on the UVA kick, I couldn't tell if it went wide or through the uprights or our kick. I didn't know it went off.
I didn't
know it went off. The
I couldn't
post.
even. Yeah, I didn't know it went in.
There was
until-
also a 7-foot tall whistle in front of me, so that hurts it. But yeah, no, it was a good game. A shout out Wanye and Ben, original hype train. But Wanye ran the safety kick back
back for a
back
touchdown.
to the house. That was excellent.
Also Presley Harvin the third pinning UVA at the 1 and forcing that safety.
And nailing a guy on their punt return team.
Special teams and defense won this game for Georgia
Yep.
Tech.
Agree. The offense at times looked.
I'll go special teams.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll give you defense.
Defense looks better and better every game. Well, I mean, they look pretty good this game, but they still need to work on the inside linebackers. I thought they were going to be a strength of the team, and they haven't been so far, at all.
I mean, UVA quarterback Perkins was able to run QB draw
They
every other
contained from
play.
what Outside backers was bad.
There's a lot of dink and dunk.
It
passes.
wasn't even QB draw. It was just a pretty simple naked bootleg. They weren't
That
even attempting to pass. It was just a straight up naked bootleg to run, and the backside was wide open.
Yeah, there were a couple times where it was just the issues tackling, but it's not to the point where we were talking about earlier in the season where it was straight up arm tackling and guys were missing left and right. But
Yeah.
I will say, especially out on the edge with those hitch routes, if I'm getting my terminology right,
Yeah.
towards the end of the game, Tech was getting burned real
Those
bad.
I'd call that a comeback route.
Comeback route, hitch route, same. Well, you know what I mean. It's
Yep.
5-yard routes. Virginia, like you said, Jake, was dinking and dunking up and down the field.
Yep. Most of those you're talking about were to what's his face, Olamide Zacchaeus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's
All
a
name.
talented kid.
All
Yeah.
name team.
He had 11 catches for 111 yards, which is a lot of catches for 111 yards. So that was not great. Long of 18 Yeah, that's not.
And then there was the other guy, Joe Reed, that had a long of 56. So,
Wasn't that on
That was
the
a-
backup
who
quarterback's
missed that?
drive too?
That was a really
Who missed
bad
that tackle?
That would have been a fourth
I think
down.
It might have been. Was it Trace Williams? I don't know. I don't want to say.
there was one play where someone got burned
It was one of the corners.
so bad.
It would have been 4th and long on that play too, because
Mhm.
he almost got him pretty close to the backfield. I didn't get a good angle on where exactly it was.
But I do have to say credit to UVA's starting quarterback. I think it's Bryce Perkins.
JUCO guy.
JUCO guy. He took what looked like a pretty nasty hit on that safety.
Mhm.
And we because that was in our end zone, we thought he had torn something in his knee.
He needed help getting off.
He needed help getting off, but he came right back on the field after a couple drives. I don't know if it was adrenaline. I don't know if it was painkillers, but props to him for being a warrior and sticking it out for his team. And I mean, he almost won the game for him.
I like to call that the Daniel Jones mentality, but I also don't like
Daniel Jones is just dumb. This was warrior. Daniel Jones is just dumb. You can't come back from a collarbone in 2 weeks. Broken collarbone.
He did a good job.
He did a very good job.
And we have one more year of playing against him, so that'll be interesting next year up in Charlottesville. But yeah, they can rest on their laurels.
He can have all the wine and cheese that he wants.
Went from 1-3 to 7-4. Any thoughts on that, boys? I know after USF we walked out of that stadium pretty dejected.
Yeah,
and
we
angry.
had a lot of angry thoughts.
I feel a lot different than I did that afternoon. I think this season's really
Start around.
been a roller coaster ride, that's for sure. Cade, you look like you got
they'd
something.
be playing in for the ACC championship if they beat Pitt.
Yep.
That's
one
all,
game.
That's all you had to do.
But also, I think, one, the season has turned around, but number two, I also think it's a function of the Coastal being kind of garbage.
You need to have some sort of this adversity, though. I think maybe losing Pitt or a USF kind of factors into the growing process. This is a team that didn't go to a bowl game last year, that has a new coordinator. They're really just they needed to come into their own, and that's it. It didn't happen early enough.
And I think it is a younger
but they
team.
did learn from that.
It is a younger team than previous years. Obviously, we replaced the entire secondary. A couple of those inside linebackers are freshmen, or at least redshirt freshmen, I think.
Second team all Demetra said this today in a tweet. Second team all ACC B back got injured week 2, and we were able to find capable Jerry Howard and
Jordan Mason.
There's been drop off, but they're still good players.
Yeah. I think it's been a good season. As the lone senior, graduating senior on this podcast, having seen 2 seasons with bowl games now and 2 seasons without, I mean, it's not as good as 16, and 16 itself was a surprise, but I'll take it for my last season. They could still win 9, so I'm gunning for that. And speaking of that 8th win. Guess who's next on the schedule?
Is that brought to us by the University of Georgia's Symphonic Winds?
Yep.
Nice. Classy.
The Redcoat Marching Band, you mean?
That they stole from England?
I was gonna go for their like actual school of
UGA
music,
style.
tossing that out there, but
UGA people, they tend to have a thing for losing sides of big wars in American history.
the Union Army did not lose the
Yeah,
Civil War, buddy. But that's where they got their stupid fight
That's
song from.
Okay.
All right. Before we start writing checks, we might not be able to cash. Controversy.
I wasn't writing any checks. I was calling Georgia people something mean.
Did they pick the Australians in the Great Emu War or something? Let's go.
No, but you know that most of them picked.
No.
We could get
We're not going there.
We could get
We're
into a
not in-
philosophical
we're not in
discussion
Charlottesville. We're not
and
going
mention
there.
that that our philosophy teacher literally had a whole unit about the agrarian roots of the University of Georgia, and basically called them
a rural
antebellum Southern aristocracy. But his words, not mine, which I was amazed that a tech professor was able to pull off. But
He's a philosophy and CS professor. He took a very he took something that's a very heated like rivalry culture shift and actually put like something that you understand very intuitively, but he put actual words and concepts to it. But now we're getting into the thick of like philosophy and like school, and I come here not to think about school. So the opening line on this game was 17 points to the bad guys.
That seems like too much.
Really?
The bad guys?
Seems like not
enough. On the side of it seeming a little high too.
I mean, it might wind up being more than that, but that seems like an aggressive spread for two offenses that have that chart thing. You sent me a chart to read, and I didn't read it, and I'm sorry. But
so there was a chart on
the plot was very.
So the chart similar. There was a chart on our college football on Reddit today where someone plotted out how the school in Athens and Georgia Tech's offenses have performed this season. Both offenses are averaging about 10.9 possessions per game, and also run the ball a hell of a lot. Us, obviously, but also for them on the backs of both of their running backs. I don't even care what their names are, and also their game manager at quarterback who sucks. So
it's true.
It's true. I mean, there's a lot. Rivalry game makes things weird, and we've seen that time and time again. I think in the last couple of times this game has been played in that steaming cesspool up in Athens. But
I mean, I guess you were talking about Swift and Holyfield were the two running backs you were talking about. They're really, really, really good running backs.
I keep finding them. They just lost
two. I think they grow them up there. I think they got a little farm. They grow them up.
It's not really. It's kind of stupid because they're just really, really good. But
it's a minor turf crash.
Jake Fromm he's not a super scary guy, but he's also the exact kind of guy that continues to beat Georgia Tech and has beaten Georgia Tech like 3 times this year because Barnett was that kind of guy. Well, not as much that kind of guy.
Dan Jones is that kind of guy.
Yeah, he was
Daniel Jones. Yeah, Daniel Jones is that kind of guy.
Future. Wait, huh?
Kenny Pickett.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Kenny Pickett. Well, I think Pitt's offense after that game has definitely evolved into where Kenny Pickett has taken that kind of role. I don't know if I would say if he was in that role in the Pitt game versus us.
I don't know. I didn't watch that game. But Fromm.
I don't know.
But Fromm, yes.
They'll find a way to struggle against him because quarterbacks who rely on short passes will always be successful against this year's defense. And that's all Georgia does.
That's fair. All right, so do we want to do predictions? Are we not feeling this one? Rivalry game prediction. I'm not a fan of doing them myself.
No, I'm just going to inject gold into my veins and scream at the top of my lungs with my ears closed.
Oh,
yeah, no. I like that idea.
Sounds good.
Rivalry game voodoo is a thing. Yeah. Let's hope for a win for the good guys.
So that brings us to our last topic, right?
Yeah, picks.
Picks.
All right. So my game last week got canceled, Stanford versus Cal, because of the wildfires out in Northern California. If you are in that area, please stay safe. Those fires are, obviously they're fires. They're very dangerous. I don't know what more there is.
Computer boy.
I don't know what more there is to say about that, but please stay safe.
Fires cannot
evacuate.
Burn below 13% oxygen content.
And I hope y'all get some rain soon.
Fire is hot.
Yes.
Because y'all need it. But moving on, Jake. What did you have last
please
week?
Don't ask me about the Corn Bowl. It didn't go so well for the team I picked to cover.
Stop picking bad teams from bad states.
I love the Fighting Illini.
Hey, at least the Cubs not the Cubs, the Bears are doing well.
Bears are doing well. Lovey's old team. But we're not going to talk about it. The team that made more corn beat the team that made more pumpkins. So I was wrong. But it fits their color schemes, so good for them. All right, how about you, Ethan?
Last week I took Ole Miss to cover a spread against Vanderbilt of +2.5. They did not, unfortunately. Vanderbilt got a close one. So.
Womp womp.
I picked Central Florida to cover 7.5 against whoever they played, Cincinnati. And They did very much.
Good for them.
What was
They
the
won
final
by
score of that game? Like they won by
38-13, I think was the final.
They
And
did.
that makes Cade our only winner, so good job.
and I think that makes UCF a top 10 team in the
No,
CFP.
no.
Triggered.
Shush. Akshay, who you picking this week?
Who am I picking this week?
Before you pick your cane, just know that the wind will be out of the south on both Thursday and Friday, so the weather will be warmer than expected at Ryan Field.
I regret-
I was dying to know.
I regret picking a game that's being played near Chicago, but I had to do it.
There's light rain.
Illinois versus number 22 Big Ten West champions Northwestern. The spread on this game is Northwestern by 18. Give me all of that.
I would, love,
Northwestern
Chicago's
wins by
Big Ten
more.
team, eh?
I would love to go to that game if only there was more than one airline that flew out of Chicago. If only someone could tell me, are there more airlines than just one that fly out of Chicago?
There are more than one. It's a perk
What?
of living in a city with
No way.
multiple hub airlines.
No.
So when I go home tomorrow, there's flights on 5 different airlines leaving within an hour of when mine does, which is why I'm trying to speed this along. So I gotta go to Hartsfield. But it's time for sleep.
You don't know those airlines, do you?
I do know those airlines, but we're not going to talk about
We're
that.
not an
'cause this is a
airline
sports
podcast.
Okay.
Jake has his own thing for that. AirlineReporter.com. Go read
I
Jake's
owe them
articles.
many articles that I spend not enough time writing because I write so much from the Rumble seat. So you're welcome, boss.
Thank you.
All right,
They
Jake.
turned it on me.
What game are you betting on this weekend while you're at Thanksgiving?
It's the Joke at Doke number 2 Electric Boogaloo, Florida State. I didn't even bother to look up what the line is. Give me Florida and all the money because Florida State sucks.
That bowl streak is ending. It should have ended last year, but that's ending this year.
Yep.
Yeah, can't voodoo backdoor nonsense your way out of that one. But,
Womp womp. All right, Ethan.
All right, this week we'll go over to the Palmetto State, the lesser of the two Carolinas, to check out
Oof.
Clemson and South Carolina, two schools who both claim the other is more rednecky than they are, but honestly they're both rednecky enough that it doesn't really matter.
The North Carolina boy says.
Yeah.
He's a Wake Forest man, a polished young
Well,
gentleman.
North Carolina, in terms of the state.
Continue.
I'll take the Tigers and all 26.5 points that they're favored by. 'Cause
South
South Carolina's not very good.
They looked good very early on, and then Georgia just broke them.
Yeah. Yep, about right.
Wow,
Not
another
good.
team that was conveniently ranked in time for Georgia to play them.
They
What a
haven't
concept.
played anybody. They should not be number 6 or
They
whatever.
lost
the
to
hell they are.
LSU.
Should have
Fun
lost
fact.
to a lot of other teams. All right,
All right.
Cade, take us home.
All right, from the Palmetto State, we move over to I think Liberty's in Virginia.
State.
Yes.
They
The
are.
Virginia State.
The Thomas Jefferson and Tim Kaine State. That's what we know Virginia as these days.
And their
they're
arch
playing-
rival.
And their arch rival, New Mexico State.
For the second time this
Fellow
season.
Independents.
For the second, double independence off. I'm very invested in this game emotionally, having picked it by pointing my finger at my phone screen. I don't know who's favored. I think Liberty's favored by 9, actually, is what I remember. So I'm going to choose New Mexico State to win outright.
New Mexico State plus 9.
I think they
On the
beat them
road.
earlier this year.
Yeah.
I think rumor has it that they're playing all 12 times next year.
Oh.
Spicy.
Scheduling is
That's
weird.
how you get to
I would actually
112
watch those
matchups all
games.
times.
I would actually watch those games.
All right.
I mean, it's scheduling is weird when you're an independent. Sometimes things just work out like this.
Why schedule a team near you where you can fly all the way across the country?
Let's play a team twice.
You can
Twice.
tweet Amazon HQ, too. 2.5.
Yeah, one of them in Northern Virginia and the other in Long Island City, New York.
Oh boy.
Also, Long Island City is a stupid name. Sorry, not sorry.
Atlanta was robbed. We have a streetcar.
Chicago was robbed. We don't have a streetcar though.
Oh, so you weren't robbed.
No,
Yeah,
we
you weren't robbed.
We have an Elon Musk hypothetical underground bullet tunnel
I mean,
though.
Jeff Bezos was probably robbed when he was in Chicago.
Dude, I might get robbed tomorrow. Like, this is a very real problem here.
But not in Midtown Atlanta.
Not in beautiful, breezy Midtown Atlanta.
Allegedly.
In the shadow of the Biltmore, Tech finally fixed all the letters on there. It's a beautiful night. It was a great weekend on the flats,
It's a
boys.
very good weekend. Program's trending in a positive direction. And any other final thoughts?
We'll hear more about it soon, right?
Probably.
Tech owns the Biltmore?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's been a thing for like a year and a half.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Judgmental Akshay statement. Question.
Been that way for a year.
Me. I'm the resident old person. All right. Everyone have a
Back
happy.
in my day, we used to win against Florida State in the last seconds of the game.
I'm taking that one to my grave.
All
Everyone.
you millennials underrating Scott Sisson's kick. Scott Sisson never missing.
You
Shout
weren't
out
alive
1990.
back then.
Back in my day.
Boo. This is why you don't invite the historian on the podcast. Anyway, for the third time, everyone have a happy and safe Thanksgiving, and we will see you next week on The Flats. Peace out.